Yes, I'm back again, and we're going to get into this video. This is the second part to the hidden history of Christmas by Abdullah Hakim Quick, and we're going to get into it again. And I hope you enjoy or stay with us, stay with me. Oh, yes, and don't forget to subscribe if those of you who haven't subscribed yet to my videos to be able to get in the loop and other videos that I deal with in other areas, and I have different segments. This is my religious segment, by the way. This video is, of course, and as you can see, it's my Islamic backdrop and all that. So basically, but know one thing with me, and you're gonna know if you're new to my videos, I am religious throughout all my videos. And that's just who I am. I don't fake the funk, and I don't play games, and I don't try to compromise for nobody. If you don't like my videos because I'm who I am, I'm a Muslim, and I'm a Tawheed Muslim, meaning I truly, to the extent, practice my faith, implement my faith as best as I can be. I'm not perfect, but implement it, especially on Tawheed, on monotheism. And Christmas is a total opposite from monotheism. And because it's pagan in its origin, that's basically where it derived from. It didn't derive from what is belief in Jesus as being the we believe in Islam, born as a prophet in a manger and all that understanding in biblical terms of connection with what Christmas is also based on. No, it's not mainly based on that. It's based on what this brother speaks about, and you're going to listen if you stay with me. Also, give me thumbs up if you really enjoy it and you think it's good and it's true and it's helping you to benefit, to make sure that you can get your mind thinking so you can make your own decisions and say to yourself, no, I need to leave off from this stuff because this is against what I say that I am. And you might be a Jew, you might be a Christian, as you say. And if you are a Christian, even with that, Christmas should not have nothing to do with your faith because it's not even in the Bible. And I mentioned that already in the video, first video before this. But just for you to find out and do your research as well. Go right behind me and share the video so other people and family and people can get it. Don't be afraid. I'm not here to conquer nothing. I'm not here to harm nobody. I'm just bringing truth and giving you something that I've learned, and it helps. Trust me. May the reminder benefit the hearer, and I hope so. So let's get into it. All right, are you ready? Let's get it. All right, Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings, and keep up the lessons. Let's get into this video. Listen to this brother, Abdullah Hakim Quick, and hear what he speaks about the hidden history of Christmas. All right.
Cheering for the Gladiators sounds like one of our football games. They would go to the
And real quick, we're leaving off on the area where he deals with how the Christians got abused and persecuted in a very vigorous and evil way, to the point of death and killing. And he speaks about what the pagans did that later on the faith had its forcing of its paganism into the teachings and understanding as we know today now, they call Christmas. Okay, let's go on.
Colosseum, right? And the gladiators would fight. And then if one of the gladiators was down, and they would look at the emperor, should I kill him or not? And if he wanted to kill him, he would say, he would go like that. Right?
Put his thumb down.
If he said keep him alive, he goes like this. You know how we use
it
today? Yes. Okay? Gives that sign. Okay? One of the terrible things happening during these rituals at the Colosseum is that they would bring the Christians out, literally men, women, and children, and feed them to hungry animals.
Lions,
they would take
especially.
a hyena or a wolf or a lion and get it hungry and crazy and beat it and throw raw meat at it and then send it out on the people, and they would literally cheer and watch as the animal ripped the bodies apart. This is a terrible culture. Tear the bodies apart. And so somewhere along the line, somebody who couldn't take the torture, who felt that maybe we can win these people over, made a compromise. And you start to see changes going on. from the early part of the Christian era in Southern Europe, where the major ceremonies held by the nature worshiping people are combined with Christian names and Christian ceremonies, and therefore what comes forth to us is a mixture with the two streams coming.
Now I want you to look up this name, Josephus. And I think from what I remember doing my studies, and I have to get back my notes that I've had on this subject, or the historical information of this person named Josephus, who was a person and integral factor of a person, as being a person that dealt with making this change, making this compromise. Look him up, look up the name, and find out what he did, and being a person, an integral part of making this change in the textual knowledge that eventually came to be able to be accepted with the Trinity, with the paganism parts of concepts of in God, paganism concepts, dogmas, to believe in God. Okay, not monotheistic. Okay, see how it changes, because those people that were being tortured, they were being tortured because they believed in a monotheistic understanding of God. Those pagans were the ones that were torturing were the Romans, and they did not believe in that. So they saw fit. They said, these people who are expendable, we don't need them, and we hate them anyway because they don't believe in our gods. They don't want to submit to following our ways. So get rid of them. Let's use them for the what the Colosseums were consisted of doing, is for entertainment and circus, as they call it. This is their traditional ways, the Roman Empire. Yes. Continue on. Let's continue.
Coming together where you get a monotheistic name or a monotheistic character with a pagan ceremony. And so the mixture of this together is what is giving us the present day holidays that we see.
Okay. Mithra. Again, as the brother was saying in the first video that I did, he was talking about that, how they tried to kind of get rid of that name later on, because they did not want to get that name connected with the truth of how it connects with what the concept of what Christmas is when it comes to Isa alayhi salam, when it comes to Jesus. How they depicted and made that way up so it can be accepted by the masses later on, but it's hidden. It's hidden. That's what this video is based on, the title. The hidden. They hid it for reasons, because they knew that in time people might come to learn it again and realize, and then return to monotheism and to leave off from the polytheism and paganism of these teachings, or of these practices. And that's what they were afraid of. And as you see myself, I'm one. And many other Muslims. And even you have like Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't practice this stuff. You have different other faiths of Christianity that don't practice this. The Unitarians, they don't practice this. And they profess belief in Jesus, and they believe in him as a prophet too, especially with the Unitarians. Look them up. But they have other things that are, deviations from the origin. So, but Islam, as we know, everything before it was abrogated from, meaning not to practice anymore. Islam is the last message. And then the Prophet ﷺ was the last messenger, brought the last message, which is the Quran, the last revelation. So that's where you should know. And as Muslims, we're supposed to know. So this stuff with Christmas, it doesn't make no sense. If you're a Muslim especially, you shouldn't even, it's sad. You're going astray. And may Allah guide you from going astray. Even if you're putting up a tree, even if you're saying, oh, you're just doing it for the kids, that's not an excuse to Allah. Submitna wa ata'na. Hear and obey. Obedience is that which you leave off from. The prophets were warned, and he had the prophets warn their people for reasons, and they had to leave off from the things that the other people that they was being warned, which were pagans, which were God, the worshippers of false gods and polytheists. He guided them But those that rejected the guidance, they had to leave off from it. And the prophets were the main ones that did. So they were upon submitting, taught now. They was upon obedience and leaving off from worshiping these gods and their traditions and their practices. Whether it was symbolic or it's just for the children. They didn't make any excuses like that. They didn't make no excuses at all. They left it off fully with no excuses or compromise. And we should be the same. We should not just because, oh, those are prophets, they were from the different times, they're stronger in their faith and any man, it's in my heart. No. If it's in your heart, then be sincere if it's in your heart. If you sincerely believe in Islam and you're a Muslim, then be sincere and keep it real. Keep it 100, as we say, right? But if you're not, then you're not. So ask Allah to guide you and make you stronger and work against that. It's like a drug. You know that drugs is wrong, but you still use them. But you got to leave off from it because you know it's bad for you. And this is bad for you. And your children especially. They should not be coming up in this. And I'm not just speaking to the Muslims. I'm speaking to you non-Muslims as well. Because what's haram, what's impermissible for us, is impermissible for you too. But because you don't know the faith, you didn't enter the faith, you don't want the faith, you don't believe in the faith, you reject it for whatever reasons, especially your desires that you cannot practice because you feel that's too strict, that faith is too strict, whatever. That you don't want to come in, or your desires is more fulfilling to you to be able to please your desires and being happy. Oh, I could do this, I could do that. I could still puff that puff. I could still, puff the magic dragon. I could still dance and shake my booty. I could still go out and have, sex with who I choose to and not get married. All these different things that Islam does not permit. Okay, you don't want to enter it. Okay, so, but it's still an Allah. Everything that's haram for us is haram for you. What's impermissible, your creator is still impermissible for you, even though you're astray and you don't realize. So I pray that Allah guides you so you can realize to stop with that which you're doing. Okay, let's continue on.
Number one, we understand that Isa alayhi salam, according to the different reports of the different scholars in many religions, he was not born in the cold weather. History shows us that he was born during the warm weather. Even in the Christian traditions, they have the belief that the shepherds were tending their flocks outside. And in Palestine, you cannot keep your flocks outside.
What do you say? Palestine. Where's Palestine? Is Palestine in the cold climate area or region of the world? No. And what does he say? As he says, the shepherds, they did not keep their flock outside. And this continue to listen to what he's saying.
In the wintertime, in the evening, you bring them in because it's cool at night. And so it was the warm weather. It was also the time of the taxes in the north. In the story coming in the Quran, when we see the mention in chapter 19 in verses 24 to 25, and we see the mention of the story of Mary, because it is the belief of the Muslims that Maryam, may Allah be pleased with her, was a virgin, and she had dedicated her life to the worship of one God, prayer and fasting. And by the power of Allah, that the Creator breathed His Spirit into her, and she conceived Jesus. He said, be, and it is. She conceived.
As they say in Christendom, the Immaculate Conception, meaning she didn't have sex with no man, and definitely not with God, because the Creator is above that. He doesn't have a want, need, or that's not what suits him to have sex, because he's beyond that. He don't need to do that. He creates. He's the creator. Sex is for us, or animals, other species that have to partake in reproductive actions, such as we know as sex or sexual relations, okay? Which is part of reproducing the human person or the animal species or whatever species of animal it is. Plant life as well. They have their own way. You may not do it like we do it or animals do it, especially mammal animals and other animals that you see that they get their bodies together and they do what they do. But you see with the plants, they have photosynthesis. They got the different scientific ways of how they do make their reproduction to continue on. Their species of plant. And this also is a proof too that Allah created us in our roles. Like I yesterday had the Jummah, went to the Friday khutbah, Friday Jummah, and listened to the khutbah, which is the Friday sermon of the Imam, the leader of the Muslims, in the religious leader who leads us in prayer and worship and learning about our faith. And he spoke about the role of the man and the woman, and how today there's a lot of agenda against pushing and changing and flipping the script. And as is mentioned in the Quran, that how the plan will be that the kuffar, especially disbelievers, and those Muslims that are weak, that go along with the kuffar's way and agendas, that the times of the day of judgment to come, that people will be pushing to change the creation of Allah, change the proper roles of the creation of Allah, as far as us is concerned, mankind. That, oh, man is going to be like woman and woman's going to be like man. Or men want to be like woman and women want to be like men. We seeing this. We hearing this. We see with flags flying all over the place, changing their roles. And Allah said and set in our reproduction of our bodies, the reproductive organs, the reproductive parts of who we made of, and any animal and plant life as well, they're in place. You don't see them going out of place and changing their role. So the Creator who made that and is clear as a proof that we are the only ones who are trying to change that. But everybody else, all the other creation, staying in its place, but us. But the main thing and reason why is because of this polytheism and paganism. That's why it's the worst sin, because this trickles down, chips away at your belief in the Creator. So now you're not going to, if you don't believe in the Creator, with the Satanists especially, they believe in the devil tricked them to say, okay, now I'm going to give you what I'm going to give you. Here, take this, worship me, and take all these desires that you want to practice and do, have it your way, fulfill your life, live it to the fullest. Do as thou shalt want to do, as they say from Crowley. What is his name? Aleister Cromley, whatever this fool's name was. He was the first forefather of Satanism. You know, Luciferian. Yeah, fools. Fools, losers. That's what you are. May Allah guide you and get you back to, because you're going to be in a loss on the day of Yom Qiyamah. If not now, and you think this is your time, and all you Satanists that think this is the devil's life and the devil's world, you've been fooled. And your practice, these paganistic practices are part in line with that, because you're produced and you're put out through the airways, through the media, through the social media, through all your kind of outlets to promote your Satanism through these things. As you look and you see in the first part, and I'm going to try to put it as a thumbnail, that the Santa Claus, Satan Claus, listen to what he says later. And I'm going to let them try to get through the video for that to happen. Okay, let me continue. Sorry, went into tangent. You know me.
Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, without a father, without a man. That is a belief of Islam. It is also a belief that when she felt the pain of the pregnancy, that the angel came to her and told her to go outside of the city. She went outside of the city to a remote area, and there she found a palm tree, and she found water. And it was speaking about rutub janniyah. It was speaking about a type of rutub, or a type of dates. And those who know, who have lived in the desert area, know that when the dates become ripe, when you start to see the color of the dates change, because dates are not brown. Dates are originally red and they're yellow, they're other colors, but they turn the brown. It's at the height of the heat that the dates become ripe. And so it's at that time that she gave birth to Isa alayhi salam. So from different points of view, different historical points of view and different religions, we understand that Isa alayhi salam was not born during the winter season. He was born.
Now I'm going to let this video go all the way to finish up. And forgive me for the lengthy part of it, but I just want to finish it up. I want to keep stopping and doing all these other different parts. Try to get it finished up. So stay with me. Please continue to listen, because there's a lot more evidence of what was been hitting, and it's juicy. So just please stay with it, people.
Born in the warm weather. So So who was it that was born in the winter season? What is that? Who is that character now? Let us become detectives and try to find out the answer to this problem. Number one, you have to understand this concept of Saturn, the concept of Bacchus. When they are portrayed by the different artists who drew pictures of them or the sculptures, they're usually portrayed as a heavy-set man with a white beard. And when in the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo drew his picture, you can see the long flowing beard, and there are actually pictures of this man.
Now get into this. Yeah, you see that figure, you see that image. That's how it's really depicted. And he's going to get into it the way that this look, not that smiling or that this happy-go-lucky Santa Claus and everything. And the pictures, you take the pictures with Santa Claus. Why are these babies? And if you know babies, and I'm just going to get into it real quick, try to go back to him. Babies are pure when they're created and when they're born. They have that natural inclination of needs. And that's why they have to have their mother and the mother's milk and like these natural instinctive things, because they don't have their brain yet functional for that. Because that's why their brain is so, as they say, children are sponges, because it has to develop this knowledge first, so they can be able to learn how to do things and learn behavior or taught from what they've taught from their parents and then whatever they learn. But when the natural instinct or the natural inclination, or it's like an intuitive feeling. They know negative from positive, or they know good from evil naturally. So when on a spiritual level, the unseen comes in, it's a vibe, it's a feeling, comes into their midst and presence, they start crying because they're uncomfortable. And some say, I'm not sure if any scholars of Islam, but that they can see unseen beings and evil, and they can see good. The malaika, the angelic, the malaika, the angels. Angels come upon us, as well as the shaitans, the shayateen, the devils, to try to misguide us from the beginning. The angels are there during the times and especially if it's a Muslim child, from a Muslim family, the Muslim parents, especially the father, because the mother's bearing the child, and it's a struggle for her to be able to do any of the actions that are Islamic to help the child to be in a good way and have comfort, which is a reciting of Al-Fatiha, taking a little piece of the date from the Sunnah of the Prophet and touching it on its tongue. These different types of practices that gives us our child a better way and protection from the shaitans, from the shayateen. Okay, from Shaitan himself, the accursed devil and our enemy, and from his shayateen followers that are other jinns that work for him. And there's one jinn that stays with us, is called the Qareen, from the time that we are born till the time we die. And he tries to misguide us, unless we was able to make them take Shahada and become Muslim. But other than that, more or less, most of us, no, we're not able to do that. The Prophet was the only one known to give Shahada and guide his jinn to becoming Muslim, a Muslim jinn. Yes, jinns can be Muslim. They're not just evil following the shaitan. Okay? So anyway, the point I'm saying is that the children, when they're sitting with Santa Claus, many of them are shown crying. And if you know with a true experience of your child or others that you want to try to get the pictures with the Santa Claus and see for yourself. And there's a reason. Because he's scary. Inside and outside. Even though he's smiling. Okay, so let's get it real.
On a sled being drawn by snakes with wings. Snakes with wings. Snakes do not normally fly. But in this case, the snakes have wings, and the heavy-set man is on his sled being drawn by these flying animals. Sound familiar to you now, doesn't it? He's being drawn by the flying animals.
Which later,
he's performing miracles.
Which later he makes they make those animals because they didn't want to take that. They didn't want to connect. That's why it's hidden again. Back with the point in the title is hidden. They did not want to show. As time went on, of course, as people became more knowledgeable and seeking knowledge and You know, they wasn't just taking stuff and just blindly following. Now we got to change it because people are not going to accept that. They're not going to accept, especially these Christians or these people that say they believe in Jesus. They're not going to accept that in their faith, and even other people, the Jews or the Jews, of course, many of them rejected Christmas. Period. They don't practice. They practice Hanukkah. Okay, that's their holy day, and they practice the other their holy days. And then the Muslims, we have Ramadan and the two Eids, the Eid al-Fitr that follows Ramadan, and Eid al-Ahad, which is the major Eid of the practice of the implementation of the history with Ibrahim and his son and the sacrifice, and on through the line of the different aspects in dealing with his mother, his son Ismail's mother, and the likes of this, as we know, as Muslims were supposed to know. But this practice, back to the point, this practice was hidden, and the image of him, this so-called, that come to know to be Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas, that this person had an evil way about them. They were evil, and he's going to get into it.
He's coming out on December 25th, which is not the birthday of Isa alayhi salam, has nothing to do with Christianity. It is the time of the Bacchanalia and the Saturnalia, and he is representing riotous fun, drunken reverie. And so what happened?
And drunken reverie. What do you think people do on Christmas? And especially, like, I remember my grandpa. You know, I don't speak negative about him in the sense of disrespect, but he used to drink. Others that I know in my family, they drink, and my aunts and uncles, elders, they drank, especially. And what was it? It was the spiked eggnog, and the kids couldn't drink it because that was the spiked one, and then they had the regular eggnog. Okay, and they had their booze. They had every table. You'll see it, Bacardi rum, you see vodka, you see all them different, along with the food, because that's part of their tradition. That tradition was passed down. And for us, African Americans, it was pushed upon us, and we were influenced by it later on, especially when we became free. We wanted to be like them. We wanted to be able to get our rights back. The only way we felt to get our rights back that was stripped away from us through slavery is to be like them. And we're still doing that. Still trying to be like the European, instead of returning back to your ancestral heritage of what you knew your people were. Other than, of course, the paganism of Africa too, or the polytheism of Africa. The Islamic, especially for us African American Muslims, the Islamic, I'm going to say it again, Islamic, which deals with worshiping and submitting to Allah and implementing practices that are in line with that. Monotheism, not in line with paganism and pagan rituals and stuff like this guy right here. This guy right here. Okay? Yeah. Get it. Let's get it correct.
Happens on Christmas, the Christmas season, especially in America. People today are not even thinking about Isa alayhi salam. They're not even thinking about
Party
Jesus.
hard.
They're looking how they can get drunk. On Christmas, what is going on? In the Caribbean and many parts, if they offer you a Christmas pudding or Christmas pie or Christmas drink, watch out. Because it's probably laced with rum or wine. That's the spirit of the season. Now, this riotous occasion that was going on went so far that the Christian church banned it. And the Church of England, according to historical sources, actually banned it all the way to 1647.
Now, you see, this is showing that this wasn't accepted in early Christendom. The early Christians did not accept this. Okay? But it was later modified and morphosized and changed and flipped in and squeezed and, snuck in there. And they got tripped up. And that's why you see now. You see the people tripped up and they don't even know what they're practicing. Some of them, a lot of them, most of the masses don't. And then the ones that do, they just, it's just for the kids. That's the main excuse. Okay, let's see if that excuse is going to hold you up when you meet your Lord.
It was prohibited in England to celebrate Christmas because they saw Christmas as being a pagan holiday. This is an official position taken by the Christian church, the Church of England, who were known at that time as Puritans.
Look that up.
What happened was an individual was superimposed. A name was superimposed. We hear about the name of Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas. Now, Saint Nicholas himself is actually coming from the ancient writings of Beowulf. And in these writings, which are done in the Scandinavian region, we find the name Nick or Nickel or Nicker. He was known as a demon, the demon of the north. He was known as the evil spirit of the north, the name of Odin, the evil principle. And so in Germany and in many of the northern countries, the people actually looked upon this so-called Saint Nick as being an evil force, and they would tell their children in the wintertime, don't go outside, because if you do, Nicholas will come along, Nickel will come along, he'll capture you, put you in his bag, and take you away. And so they used it as a negative concept. In Isaiah, in what is left of the Bible, in chapter 4, in 14:13, the devil is known as the prince of darkness. And it is an understanding that his throne, the seat of his power, is in the north. Somewhere in the north is the seat of power of this evil. And so the Germans also, when they depicted this Nicholas, or this Pelsnickel, as they would say, Pelsnickel in German, it means a furry devil. When they depicted him, they depicted him as a man with red fur. He had a red fur coat, and his base was in the north, and he was the essence of evil. And the Church of England till 1647 took the position that this celebration could not go on. So what we are actually seeing is that the Christmas occasion was actually the time of evil. It was the time of the belief in the Saturnalia and the Bacchanalia. And because of this, they shifted the occasion to New Year's Eve. They shifted all of their feelings and their merriment and their evil to New Year's Eve. Now, before we go to that, looking back at Christmas, what is happening now in Christmas season? I don't know what goes on in Miami, but in the northern cities, on Christmas occasion, they put lights around and Santa Claus parades. Do you have a Santa Claus parade here? They have Santa Claus parades, and St. Nicholas is outside, and he's in the streets, and everybody's talking about St. Nicholas, and the poor children are taught that St. Nicholas is going to come down your chimney. Most people don't have chimneys in Miami anyway, but a 350-pound man is going to come down your chimney and bring you presents and keep his clothes white and red, and go to all of the homes in the area and put presents in your stockings and put presents under your tree, and then fly back out into space. And the poor father who sweat and toiled all year to get you the presents, gets no credit for the present given to the child.
Now that's the point that I need to speak on, because I know from true experience. I understand. And for my family that you see this video, I hope you do, and I hope you go all the way through with it. Maybe this might click one time, because I've gone over this before. I've gone into debates with some of my family members, and I'm not going to speak on who and such, and y'all don't need to know. But you know who you are. You know the debates that we had about this, let alone polytheism in our faith of what we were brought up in, and turning away from that and coming to Islam. I'm the only Muslim in my family on both sides, my mother's side and my father's side. Oh, excuse me, my brother, one of my little brothers accepted it. I'm not sure if he's practicing it, but he knows what I'm talking about. May Allah guide you and make you firm on it, and not give in to your desires as you have been doing, because this is your life. Islam is a way of life. Dinukum is a way of life. That's what it means. It doesn't mean this religion. Okay? So you have to implement it. Not just say you are and you want to, you did what you did and you came into it. No, you're supposed to be praying, doing everything. But anyway, back to the point. My father and my mother, and my father's still alive, they struggle. And this is like with any parents that deal with Christianity, deal with Christmas, to try to get those gifts. Not no Santa Claus. This guy is fake. And we know that. We've known this for a long time. And you teaching your children fakeness, lying. This is lies. This is what you're doing. You bring your child up with lies. How do you expect them to be honest people when you teach them how to be dishonest from the get-go, from when they're little? Like this, you see these kids sitting right there with the gifts. Instead of just saying, no, I'm giving you good gifts for any time they do good in life. Anytime, not just one day, 25th of December, and they try to mix it with that this is in belief with Jesus and stuff. Now, this is paganism. And the shaitan had a lot to do with it. Fooling the people, and he used and brought a figure, an image of a person to be the main one that you will get far straight from, as what we say with Jesus as being in line in relation with God, to worshiping and believing and thinking that a man in a red suit, a furry devil, is going to give you the good in this life, give you gifts. You got people even saying that they're talking about Santa's going to make their life better. It's crazy. Santa, Satan. Get it straight. All right. Anyway, let's go back and finish up. Show.
Saint Nicholas comes down the chimney, gives you this present, flies off into the night. And many of us were raised thinking, believing in this. Some of us would sneak into the night and look and see our father putting the present under the tree. We knew what he was doing anyway.
We knew.
But you went along with it, and the people say, well, it's Christmas. Don't you like to have fun? You want to stop the children from having fun? What kind of people are you? But what are you teaching the children? You are using the name of Jesus, using the name of Isa alayhi salam, and you are using a figure who historically is the devil.
That's what
the devil himself, wal-iyadu billah. They are using his figure, and he has now taken over the Christmas season. Christmas now to most people means materialism. You have to buy presents for your cousins and your friends, and you got to buy about 34 presents. And you find that most American people are in debt for 6 months after Christmas. Now, where is Jesus? You get drunk, you fight, you lose all your money, the stores raise their prices. Isa alayhi salam is described as a very humble person. Most of the time he didn't wear shoes, only 1 or 2 changes of clothing. A very simple person eating very simple food, fasting most of the time. You see what is going on? There are 2 streams now, a stream of polytheism, a stream of monotheism, and now the polytheism, the materialism, is overtaking the monotheism. And
that's the point. It was planned to do that. Shaitan is a very, very wicked and very crafty being and knowledgeable being. He knows about us more than we know about ourselves and most of the things that we don't know. He knows about it. Okay? And he knows how to trick us. The first human beings, our forefather, our main father and mother of human life, Adam and Hawa, or Eve, in English terms, biblical terms, was tricked. They were the first ones that were tricked by him, by the shaitan. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Seek refuge from the accursed shaitan in Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who created all of us. Okay, because he was given the permission and the respite, because Allah could have destroyed him right then and there when he disobeyed Allah. That was the reason why he decided to try to mislead us from the beginning, is because he was jealous of us. But that's a whole nother story, dealing with his story and historical understanding of how he came to be evil and how he went astray and then decided to be devoted in leading us astray. And he asked Allah allow him to do that and prove that we weren't worthy of our position, which was the Khalifa of the earth, which was the vicegerent of the earth, the ones who care for the earth, ones who care for ourselves and all other things on the earth, besides us, animals and everything. We were supposed to care for this place. We were supposed to act right. We were supposed to obey Allah and worship Him here, showing that we were worthy to go to the Jannah after He finished this life off, because it's a temporary basis that we're here. That's why we die. But back to the point. And I'm going to finish up because it's almost 40. Yeah, actually it's 40 minutes in. So I'm going to leave off here and let the brother finish out. And, we'll go from there. And brothers and sisters, please, again, subscribe. People subscribe to me, get more in the loop. I'm bringing more. I'm going to be doing live soon. I did my first live before. I'm going to be doing lives and getting you involved. I'm going to have debates. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into this stuff, not just this, but all the other things, cryptocurrency, my finance business segment, dealing with health segment, and the likes of these things. So let's get it in and finish up. I appreciate it. Also, like the video and share it. Okay? Let's go.
Standing in the way and taking over our society. And some foolish Muslims coming along from outside of in their country say, well, I just want to be an American. I want a tree too. So I said, one of the brothers said he had a Christmas tree in his house. He came for. I said, brother, do you know what the tree stands for? He said, no. Okay, I'll get a palm tree with dates. I'll make it halal. A halal Christmas tree.
He'll make it halal.
But brother, you have to understand what it means. You have to understand what it means. Number one, the Prophet ﷺ, when he spoke about, he talked about ar-ruqya, wa tama'im, wa tiwala. He said all of these things are shirk. That if you hang amulets, thinking that this ta'weez or this amulet is going to protect you from something, then you are actually giving power to the creation of Allah and taking it away from the Creator. If you think that by making some spells, going to a magician, and asking them to put a spell on someone. You want to get married. So you go to the Sahir and say, put a spell on Ali. I want to marry him. Put a spell on Zainab. What kind of marriage are you going to have if you go to the magician? And so the Prophet, peace be upon him, named all of these things, the superstitions, the amulets, all of these type of things are the other stream which goes away from monotheism, from the belief in one God, and takes you into another.
SubhanAllah. See? So basically that's it, brothers and sisters, and the rest of you who are non-Muslim that are watching, and family members and all of you. I pray that Allah guides us all continuously, the Muslims, on the path that is straight. Islam, according to the Prophet's teachings of the Quran and his sunnah, his way and actions that is away from all of this shirk, which is enjoining partners with Allah, and away from all this paganism, which is involving, mysticism and superstition and spell making and sorcery. And away from this, even so-called traditional spirituality that is people making up their own way of how they believe in the Creator. He sent his prophets. Prophets are the ones who know how we're supposed to worship him because he sent them. But you can reject them if you continue because you think your knowledge that you know is correct. So prove us wrong. Prove the Muslim wrong. Prove the Quran wrong. I challenge you. And there will be videos for that. Until then, and that videos that I do, of course, would be challenges, will be the debate videos. And I'm going to start them soon. We need them. We need this dialogue. We need it to come out. I need you to prove me wrong, but you're not. I already know this. And I'm not saying this in an arrogant manner. I'm saying it because Allah is the one who mentions this in the Quran. This is a book without a doubt, without imperfection, because it's his kalam, it's his word. And everything he said has come to be 1400 years ago to a prophet that did not know how to read nor write, but he understood the language that Allah was speaking to him, which is the Arabic language. That's what the Quran is. Arabiya, the Arabic language. And that's what it is. So the proof is in the platter, and I will bring the proofs, inshallah. So I hope tonight you got a good gist of what's going on, and continue on and listen. And please finish up with it. Don't and you get upset or you bias. You let your biasness or let that shaitan on your side get you to get away from. Get it, because it's truth and it's good, and it's going to help you to realize some things that you like medicine that we might take that's not doesn't taste that good, but it's good for you. This might not taste that good in your mind and in your heart because your heart has been diseased and conditioned, and to change that which should be in your heart is true belief in the oneness of the Creator, and to leaving off of paganism, to leaving off of polytheism, to leaving off disbelief, period, being an atheist or agnosticism. Any of those shouldn't have that in our hearts at all. We shouldn't have any incline to it. But we do, because of what we've been brought up and raised in and fooled by the shaitan and his peoples, and his peoples are humans too. His followers there's a lot of humans that follow him, worship him directly. So know that these people have done and put into their teachings in their books, and then now we have social media, or media when it first was started with news and magazines and entertainment, and now today social media, which is like what we are in now with YouTube and the likes of this. But you have a more freedom to pick and choose what you want. Like you can pick and choose me, and you can pick and choose the Satan worshipers and follow that way. That's up to you. Or you can pick and choose other religions that follow that way. It's your choice. But is your choice correct? And it is on truth? That's what the question is. So I challenge you. And we'll get into this later more. And thank you for listening. Peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. Assalamu alaikum.